Welcome to Hudaybiyah Model School e-learning classes. I am your general science teacher and I am here with the third lecture of unit number 1. In today's lecture, I am going to explain three topics. First is important contributions of people and culture to scientific innovation. Second, some of the contributions of Pakistani scientists and the relationship of Islam and science. So, our first topic is important contributions of people and culture to scientific innovations. Innovations mean technological inventions. The growth of scientific processes can be divided into 4 periods. First is Greek period, second is Muslim period, third is European period, and fourth is recent period or modern period. Greek period. During this period, great philosophers and scientists contributed a lot to the knowledge of science. Contributed means to give. Aristotle, Archimedes, Galen, Pythagoras are a few important names of this period. These all are the names of scientists who contributed a lot in the Greek period. Greeks were the first to try and develop the theory on the basis of their observations. Observation means to examine something carefully. So on the basis of their observations, the scientists of Greek period gave different theories. Pythagoras concentrated on a mathematical view of the world. Pythagoras was the scientist. He was credited with different mathematical and scientific discoveries. One of his great discoveries in the field of mathematics is Pythagoras' theorem. Greek was the first who suggested that matter is made up of atoms. Suggested means that they proposed. They just give an idea that matter is made up of atoms. Matter, we know that matter, anything which occupies space and have weight is called matter. So they suggested or they proposed that matter is made up of atoms and atoms are the smallest particles. Second is Muslim period. The Muslim scientists made valuable contributions to the field of chemistry, physics, medicine, mathematics and astronomy. Astronomy is the study of planets, moon, sun and stars. Jabir bin Hayyan, Muhammad bin Zikriya al-Razi, Ibn al-Haytham, al-Biruni and Bu Ali Sina are few great names of the Muslim period. I had already discussed the contributions of these Muslim scientists in my previous lecture. So, the Muslim scientists, they took the benefit of Greek contributions and added their own research and make it more logical. European period. During 17th to 19th century, scientific studies and research was conducted in European countries. They translated many books of Muslim scientists into English, French and German languages. So, the European scientists, they took the advantage of Muslim work and these books are still available in the libraries of those countries. It was in the 17th century modern science was really born and the world began to examine more closely using instruments such as the telescope, microscope, clock and barometer. So in 17th century the modern science was born. Telescope is the instrument which is mostly used by astronomers to see the far away objects. Microscope, now what is microscope? It is used to see the objects that are too small to be seen by human eye. And barometer, it is the scientific instrument which is used to measure the atmospheric pressure. The basic biology and chemistry was developed in this period, which is called as the Age of Enlightenment. So this period, this European period, was known as Age of Enlightenment. Age of Enlightenment means that it was the period of great change and new ideas. Greatest scientists of 19th century were John Dalton, who developed the atomic theory. Atomic theory was presented by John Dalton, and this theory states that matter is composed of small units called atoms. Michael Faraday and James Maxwell, who both put forward theories concerning electricity and magnetism. So, both of these scientists gave theories that were related to the properties of electricity and magnetism. Charles Darwin gave the theory of evolution. Evolution means gradual change. Basically, he gave the theory named as natural selection, and this theory explained the process of evolution. Now, what is natural selection? Natural selection is the process through which the individuals with the better characters produce more surviving offspring than the individuals lacking these variations. As a result, the population gradually includes more individuals with better variations. Like we know that resources in an environment are limited. Organisms compete with one another to get sufficient resources to live. During this competition, the individuals with the variations are able to, with better variations, are able to survive. These individuals with poor adaptability are excluded from the environment. This is called natural selection. Basically, this theory is still controversial. There is intense argument, disagreement and disapproval related to this theory. Last is recent period. In 20th century, the growth of scientific knowledge has been marvelous. Marvelous means amazing. It was awesome. Supercomputers, genetic engineering, laser surgery and transplantation of human organs are the major achievements of 20th century. So the supercomputers, the fast computers we are using, genetic engineering is basically the change or the modification in the genes of an organism, and it has different applications. Like one of its applications is to increase the yield of the plant. Laser surgery, it also has different applications. One of its applications is that it is used to break the kidney stones. And transplantation of human organs like heart, kidneys, liver, these all are the achievements of 20th century. So we can say that science and technology became an important part of our life. We get up early in the morning from the ringing of our alarm clock and go to the bed at night after switching off lights. All these luxuries that we are able to afford are the resultant of science and technology. The second topic is contributions of Pakistani scientists. First is Dr. Abdus Salam. He was born in 1926. He is world famed physicist and was awarded Nobel Prize. World fame means he was famous worldwide. His most important contribution was the presentation of theory of unification. So this scientist proposed a theory which is known as theory of unification. Basically, this theory describes the universe. There are four fundamental or the basic forces in the universe. One is weak nuclear forces, second strong forces, third electromagnetic forces, and fourth is gravity. So this theory was formed by combining three forces: electromagnetic force, strong forces and the weak forces. And this theory states that These three forces of nature are responsible for all the pushes and pulls in the universe. Second is Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, A.Q. Khan. He was born in 1936. He was the world-famed Pakistani nuclear scientist who was excelled in the field of enrichment of uranium. Nuclear scientist means he was a physicist who studies how to harvest energy from the atomic nuclei. This energy is then used for different purposes like such as fuel, medicine, electricity, or for making the nuclear weapons. He was excelled means he was best in the field of enrichment of uranium. Now what is uranium? Uranium is a chemical element like nitrogen, hydrogen. Uranium is one of the elements. Enrichment of uranium is a type of uranium in which the composition of uranium is increased. It is the component of the military nuclear weapons. And because of his a lot of contributions in this field, A.Q. Khan is also known as father of uranium enrichment project. Along with other scientists, he successfully tested the nuclear device at Chaghi in Balochistan on May 28, 1998. So Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, along with his team, performed the test in the Chaghi district of Balochistan province, and by testing nuclear device, Pakistan became the 7th nation to publicly test the nuclear weapons. He established Kahuta Research Laboratory. It is one of the research institute that is located in Kahuta, KRL. Dr. Ashfaq Ahmad Khan. He was born in 1930. He remained chairman of Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission PAEC for 10 years. PAEC is an abbreviation of Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. It is an agency that is concerned with the development of nuclear power, promotion of nuclear science, or the nuclear technology. He established Global Change Impact Studies Center, GCISC. This GCISC is a research institute for the climate or the weather studies in Pakistan. He was awarded the highest civil award of Nishan-e-Imtiyaz by the government of Pakistan. Next is Dr. Munir Ahmad Khan. He was born in 1926. He served the International Atomic Energy Agency IAEA in Vienna. So, this is an international agency, IAEA. It's an international agency that seeks to promote the peaceful use of nuclear energy and to inhibit its use for any military purpose. He contributed in the development of science and technology by associating himself to the various research and teaching organizations including PINSTEC and Center for Nuclear Studies. So he worked with different research and the teaching institutes. One of that institute was PINSTEC, which is the Research Institute of Pakistan. And second is the Center for Nuclear Studies. It is the largest research institute in Poland. Dr. Samar Mubarak Mand. He was born in 1942 in Rawalpindi. He joined PAEC in 1962. PAEC stands for Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. As I already discussed, that PAEC is an agency that is concerned with the development of nuclear power, promotion of nuclear science or nuclear technology. So he joined this agency in 1962. He earned specialization in application of lasers, fiber optics technology, nuclear instrumentation, nuclear diagnostics, and missile technology. Now, what is fiber optics technology? Optical fiber is basically a transparent fiber or wire made up of silica. Silica is an element. It has many applications, and one of the major applications is that it is used for telecommunication and computer networking, nuclear instrumentation and nuclear diagnostics. Both of these technologies have applications in the field of medicine. Both of these technologies are used for the diagnosis and treatment of diseases. Next topic is Islam and science. We know that Islamic teachings are of universal and everlasting value. In Quran, the great emphasis has laid on acquiring the knowledge. There are several verses or ayat in Quran that stimulate man to seek knowledge. Holy Quran invites the man to travel and search the hidden realities of universe. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that to acquire or to gain knowledge is the duty of every Muslim man and woman. Following are the few verses from Quran that stress to acquire knowledge. First is, behold, in the creation of the humans and the earth, in the alternation of the night and the day, in the sailing of the ships through the oceans, for the benefit of mankind, in the rain which Allah sends down from the skies, and the life which He gives therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that He scatters through the earth, in the change of the winds and the clouds, which they trial like their slaves between the sky and the earth. Here indeed are signs for the people that are wise. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 164. ट्रांसलेशन, बेशक आसमानों और ज़मीनों के पैदा करने में और रात और दिन के एक दूसरे के पीछे आने जाने में और कश्तियों और जहाज़ों में जो दरिया में लोगों के फ़ायदे के लिए चीज़ें लेकर रवां हैं, और बारिश में जिसको खुदा आसमान से बरसाता है और उससे ज़मीन को मरने के बाद ज़िंदा कर देता है, और ज़मीन पर हर किस्म के जानवर फैलाने और हवाओं के चलाने में और बादलों में जो आसमान और ज़मीन के दरमियान घिरे रहते हैं, अक्लमंदों के लिए निशानियां हैं. Second is, they ponder over the creation of earth and heaven. Surah Al-Imran, ayat 191. Translation, वो ज़मीन और आसमान की तख्लीक पर गौर करते हैं. Third is, indeed, the creation of earth and heaven, the difference of day and night, are the indications for the wise and intelligent. Surah Al-Imran, ayat 190. Translation, बेशक आसमानों और ज़मीनों की तख्लीक में दिन और रात का फ़र्क अक्लमंद और ज़हीन के लिए इशारा है. Fourth, and He is the Allah who created every living thing from water. Out of them some crawls, some are tetrapods, and some are bipedal. Allah creates what He pleases. He the Almighty and the Creator. Surah Nur, ayat number 45. और अल्लाह ने ज़मीन पर हर चलने वाला पानी से बनाया, तो उनमें से कोई अपने पेट पर चलता है और उनमें से कोई दो पाँव पर चलता है. अल्लाह बनाता है जो चाहे, बेशक अल्लाह सब कुछ कर सकता है. So, the people mentioned in the above verses are the ones who are really benefited from the science of universe. This is because they do not restrict their thinking. They perfectly utilize their senses like sight, hearing. There had been scientists that before their inventions they didn't accept the Creator. But after they invented, they realized that there is someone who is making these things to happen. There is a famous saying that science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. When we go in the details of Islamic scientific study, it is mostly related to Quran. Allah has given knowledge to the humans. Now it is up to humans that how they use this knowledge. So it was all about science and Islam. In my next lecture, I will discuss the limitations of science.